Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Swim Run Show podcast. I'm Mike, and we've got loads to get through before we have our very special guest this week. Well done to anyone racing Swim Run Hydra over in Greece. Looked awesome. Austin, Texas in America. And there's actually 4 swim runs that I know of still to go in 2024. As we speak, the Canaries swim run, Canarias swim run, is taking place. That looks like a good one. Hellas Frostbite over in Sweden. That's probably the coldest swim run in the world. That's the 30th of November. Torpedo swim run in South Africa, Cape Town, same day, 30th of November. And the last swim run I know of for 2024 is in Greece, 1st of December. Looks like a great one, organised by a triathlon club over there. Looks 22K, I think it is. And yeah, maybe one day I'll make it over there. So there we go. There's still races to have a go at. But 2025, looking ahead, we've confirmed our eliminator dates in Liverpool, early May, first Saturday of May and first Saturday of September. Entries are open. Check them out. So this week, we've got Thomas Ogander, the founder of One Water Race, a really inspirational chap, quite remarkable man. If you've not heard of the One Water Race, do check out episode 14, where we had the kind of lowdown on it. And also Helen Whitmar, who took part in this year, episode 30, and Adriel Young, who has taken part every year. That's episode 25. So some good insights from participants there. But yeah, let's crack on. Thomas Ogander, One Water Race. It's a big one. Okay, we have Thomas Ogander, the founder and race director of One Water Race. How are you, Thomas?
I'm fine. It starts to get a little bit cold in Sweden, but right now we have blue sky and sunny weather, so it's fantastic here right now.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's been quite settled here actually.
Yeah.
It's a high pressure, but not much sunshine, but it's okay. It's not too bad. So long may it continue. So One Water Race, the 3rd edition this year, 2024, with Team 6, Sweden, Australia winning again, like they did in 2022.
2022, the first year.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then
Australia,
yeah,
not too far behind.
No, it was quite close, and that was also, the intention from our side to try to have a little bit of a closer race this year. It's hard to plan something like that, but that's what we aimed for, so to speak, and it was quite close anyway.
Yeah. I've got a few questions actually from listeners, which I will throw in when it seems appropriate, and it seems appropriate here actually. A question from Gareth. His kind of question, it was a bit of a long one, but it was basically saying in the first year you felt it was a little bit short-ish on time, so you kind of extended it a little bit in 2023 towards more 60 hours ish.
Yeah.
And is that what Gareth is asking? Is that's the target, or is something going to change in 2025 where you?
To start with, when we did in 2022, I had a kind of a clue about the winning time, and because I did myself, and also I ran all the islands and everything like that, and then we had the winning time in 48 hours, and then that's check. We know that it's possible in 48 hours, and what I wanted to do to 2023, I wanted to stretch the race a little bit to see what is happening after 50 hours. So the plan was to have a winning time in about 55 hours in 2023. Then the conditions were quite tough, and the winning time was 60 hours, and that was not part of the plan, so to speak. Even though we have the possibility, we can change the course during the race, and that's what we do, because we don't go for distance, we go for time, so to speak. So even though we changed the course a little bit, we had a winning time in 60 hours. So the plan for this year was to not have 60 hours, more get down to like 53, 54 hours, something like that was the plan. And also the plan was not to make it easier. That's not possible in that way. But anyway, aim for having, like quite closer race this year. And in 2025, I think when it comes to the time, 60 hours, that's we will not have a winning time of 60 hours. That's getting real close to the limits, not at least when it comes to safety and so on. So that's not the prediction for that for next year. But I would say like little bit more, like around 53 hours, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
We haven't really gone into that details yet, but
Okay. Cool. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. That's answers the question there. So was it Team 6 51 hours? Was it? It was just over 50 this year.
50,
50.
50
Yeah.
hours and
a few
I
minutes.
think like 28 minutes or something like that. Yes.
Cool.
And even though the conditions were quite tough this year, and I know you spoke to Adrian before, and he told me really from the very beginning that Thomas, with this wind, with this, this will not do. We will not make it. But they were incredibly strong, and even if when you look at Danzig Gat, that they have like about 3 hours, and that kind of headwind they had and everything. It's their effort in 50 hours is totally incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I watched the kind of race summary video on YouTube, and Adriel mentioned quite a couple of times.
Yes.
The wind is too strong. No one's going to make it.
Yeah. I actually made a short video to him when he tells me during the race that this is impossible. No one will make it. No one will get to Landsort and everything. But I know. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So on the 2024 was there 7 teams on the start line?
17 on the starting line. We had 8 from the beginning, but then we had some injuries, so they had to cancel, and so we had 7 teams on the starting line.
Okay, and just to summary, we had Team 6 Sweden, Australia, first position, second position Team 3 Australia, Team 7 were third position, Canada, Australia. So 3 teams finished, and on the podium 3 teams, which is nice.
Yeah.
First time.
Nice. Yeah.
And then just behind, the guys, I've just made a couple of notes on when I was watching it. I believe, I spoke to Helen Wickmar, Team 4. I think Anders got cold. Is that right?
Yeah. He's got a little bit cold, and that's also because they were much faster than I had expected, I would say, but they didn't really might had the experience of multi-day racing and so on, and that's exactly from my point of view what we saw there, because after 36 hours, 40 hours, then it's you've been there out there for quite a while, but it's a long way to go, and then it starts again. The mental part of it, it starts to get really tricky, and that you have such a far way to go, and then it's easy. Well, yeah, of course, it's easy to start. With your mind, is this possible? Is it doable? Because when they quit, or when they ended the race, there wasn't so much swimming left until they would have got to Ornö. And then you have Ornö, Utö, a lot of running, and a total different kind of race. So it's a little bit, it's the mental part. Of course, I know that he was in quite a bad condition, but in the end, that's what we can see when it comes to the teams from other years as well. It's 36, 40 hours. That's when it starts to get tricky from the mental part.
Yeah, and going into that second night of
Yeah.
darkness, and yeah. Okay, so this kind of links to another question, which is
Yeah.
which I will mention in a minute. But just before I do, the American team, I believe that it was the bad chafing, rubbing of the wetsuit that was the downfall on the
Ex-
American team. Yeah. Okay.
exactly, and that was too bad as well because they looked really strong during the race as far as they got, and they are probably going back next year because I think they all felt that this wasn't what we, the plan that we have to have to quit the race in those kind of conditions. But that was very unfortunate, I would say, because they looked really strong, and they're an incredible good team as well, and they were totally up there in the front when it all started.
Yeah. And the German team, it looked like they got a little bit lost on the first night on one of the islands, and then didn't look like they recovered, or I don't know. I don't know what happened with the German team.
No, but that was also because Isabel, she was ill. She had not a flu, but she had some kind of flu, some kind of cold before starting the race, and they wasn't really sure if they would start.
Right.
But in the end, she felt better, and we had our medical team, and we checked her, and everything looked okay. So from a medical perspective, it was okay to start. But I know that they were struggling with that from the very beginning. And then the first night, they had really big problems with the orienteering. So that's where they got really lost and never really, got back to the race.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And was there another? There's one more Swedish team, wasn't there? I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had Marika
Yeah.
and Frederick and Susie
Yeah.
up there as well. And Marika got the medical issue
Right.
on the swim towards Una as well,
Oh
which,
yeah. Yeah.
yes, which was really unfortunate. But she had some kind of, like water in the lungs, and she
Yeah.
was quite in a bad condition. So it was definitely the right decision to that they made and quit the race. But they are
Yeah.
a very strong team.
Yeah.
So I had been really looking forward to see them pushing all the way because they were, they were the second team. They raced for 63 hours last year, so they have no problem.
Jeez. Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
So the winning time last year was 60 hours.
Yeah.
But the second team that got second closest, that was Marika's team, and they raced for 63 hours.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
so they have no problem in
Endurance. Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Yes, no problem at all. But when it comes to this medical condition, it was definitely the right decision to make. But it was really unfortunate for them
Yeah.
because they
And
looked strong the whole way.
yeah, no, I remember now the lungs, yeah, the water on the lungs in the video. And that might be, I suppose, with the wind, the headwind might have whipped up the water a bit, and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And it was the same thing there, but because it was quite close to Una, and then we have a lot of running and so on. But in this perspective, it was not possible to continue. But that's
okay,
also, the part of the race and the planning and see, okay, you need to have long runs as well. And in the archipelago, it's not a problem to find a lot of swimming. That's the easy part. But find the long run parts as well it's more tricky. But
yeah. Now
yeah,
that leads on to a question from me.
yeah,
In 2024, what was the longest single run section
it
ish?
ish. I would say like maybe 19 Ks.
Okay,
Uh, I would say.
okay, okay. And based on what we just said about the teams who had to retire, a question from Robert, which is I'll try and remember. It was basically, in your opinion, what is the main reason teams don't make it?
Well, it's the multi-day racing and the mental part. I would say that's because all the teams that had quit the race, they have the physical conditions to go. No team has ever quit the race because they don't have the physical strength. It's all mental. And that's also, when we discuss, this is also a scientific project with the Swedish School of Sport and Health Science, and when we look at all the data and everything from the racers, they look all okay, all of them. And even though it's cold, no one is even close to hypothermia or something like that. And in the end, I would say it's the mental part, and I can see that very clearly as we spoke before when it comes to like 36, 40 hours. That's when it starts to get tricky, because 36 and 40 hours, that's a long time. But then you realize how far you have to go. And then the mental part.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Can I do it? Can I push myself? And it's not about the physical strength. It's all about the mental part. But that's also what is the interesting part in this. So what do you need to practice? Of course, you need to run and swim and navigate and orienteer. But what you actually need to train is the mental part, to be out there for such a long time and see how can I, as an individual and not at least as a team, handle that part. And that's really interesting, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Just going back to the podium there, I think from memory, on that long, speaking of the longer sections, so that long swim is about 7 kilometers ish, isn't it? Depending on, and I think Team 3, who came second, the Australian team, didn't they go a slightly longer way to avoid some of the wind?
Yes, exactly. They did, because they changed they changed wetsuits, and the weather conditions was horrible. It was like 12, 14 degrees headwind, and the waves was like more than I would say 1 meter. I would say, and they instead of run a further bit, it was like they, of course, they could have run one more K, but instead of doing that, it was easier for them. They decided to, okay, we just swim from here. But they had, their swim was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was, they are really strong swimmers, and well, all of them are, but 3 hours and 45 minutes, that was, that's very close to in that condition, what you are able to do. And
that's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And it seems they didn't, I can't remember if they lost time on that section or gained it, or just remained the same against the front guys. But it was pretty much settled by then, wasn't it?
Yes,
really?
it was pretty much settled, even though you don't know what's happening, what can happen in the end. But the time difference between those teams were quite the same for, I would say, for the last 24 hours, more or less.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and it was interesting at the start how the different routes options that people talk. That was really interesting.
Yes, exactly, and that's what we aimed for. We aimed for that in all perspective, but that was really interesting because when the teams look at the first 2 years, we had more or less the same route from the start. Now we wanted to have, a change from the beginning, and that's also what I think is one of the most interesting parts of the race, the choice of route, so to speak. So it was really interesting to see the different kinds of choices that the teams made, and that's also to see how fast they go from the beginning and everything. That was really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it must be quite hard to gauge your pace on that first, like the first 6-7 hours. I guess you got to kind of slow it down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say, the pace in the beginning of the race, I would say for the first 24 hours, were really high.
Right.
They had really high pace, and we have ultra runners that runs with the team filming and everything, and they are really advanced runners, but they had more or less they had difficulties to catch up on them,
God.
because they were down to like 4:15 per kilometers at some parts, and that's quite fast in those kind of conditions and in wetsuits and everything.
Yeah,
So
that is. Yeah. Okay, that's scary.
yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Good job I'm on the boat then. Well,
Yeah,
if so, okay. Another question, and I've got a couple of more now. But
yeah.
another one from Gareth actually. Have you ever predicted that a team, not publicly, but during the race, have you ever thought this team isn't going to finish, and they did actually finish?
No.
No, okay, I didn't think so. No.
No. But in the end, it has been the other way around. It was like last year, when we just had one team finish. I was a little bit scared that we might not have any team on the podium. But then I met the team after about like 50 hours. I'm out there all the time, but then I realized I don't have to worry, because they will go to the end. So that was not a problem. But I was a little bit scared. Well, not scared, but I had some thoughts anyway,
Okay.
about no podium finish. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now, maps. What can you tell me the scale? What's the scale of the maps that you give out?
We have one toward 50,000 and one towards 25,000. So it's the original orienteering maps, and
Okay.
there aren't any orienteering maps over the archipelago. So we have an orienteering map expert that we have designed our own maps, and this is one of the most important things that you use during the race. So we really put a lot of effort in having really high standard on the maps, and if you enter the race, you will have a digital overview of the map and all the sections, so you can study the whole archipelago, so you can see what kind of islands or terrain and so on. So you can plan in advance. And this is also when you look at the support crew, or the ones in the teams that are really professional orienteers, they have really studied the map. So when they got a new map, even though we have different checkpoints and everything, they see from the very beginning, when they got the new map, okay, this is the way that we should go. And yeah.
Okay. Cool. And so you're not allowed to use GPS, are you? But
No.
no. But you can use a watch, a normal non-GPS watch.
Exactly. That's what we aim for, trying to work as close to just the human body as possible. So it's a total non-digital race in that perspective. Then, of course, the support crew in the boat have the opportunity to look at the digital overview that the skipper has, just to know to make sure. But otherwise, it's completely non-digital. And that's also a part because I want the races to. It's only up to you how you are how you will make the race. You can train swimming, you can train running, you can train using the terrain, you can train orienteering and navigation and so on. So that's also the part. It's just up to you to make that part, not up to any other digital helps or aids or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's each year's limited to maximum 10 teams, isn't it?
Yes, maximum 10 from a safety and organization perspective as well. And it's also, we want to keep this quite close. We try to bring the best racers and keep a small community, and that's also a big part of the race. It's like, it's like a big family when you meet, because the race starts on a Tuesday, the teams arrive to Stockholm on the Saturday, and then they have we have a meeting and stay at the hotel in the center of Stockholm from Saturday to Sunday. And then we take a ferry up to Arholma on Sunday. So we spend a lot of time together. And in the end, even though we have the teams are racing, but we have a big crew with skippers and the safety staff. And I think this year we was almost around 100 people in the organization, 23 boats, 38 skippers, and so on. So it's like, all the organization, we're working together, not helping the team, but be there to make it as good as possible for them. So it's a very it's like a family community during the visit, which is fantastic.
Yeah, great. And the media coverage. I know last time we spoke, you spoke about your experience in sports and media,
Yeah.
and that's is that going well?
Yeah, it's going well. We will make it. Well, we aim to be better at all times and from year to year. So we started with the live broadcast last year, which was okay. I think we got a lot better this year. It's a huge operation. Just from when it comes to the media part, I think we are like 15 photographers out in the archipelago and about 20 to 25 staff in Stockholm working with the production. So and we have like 5 media boats and everything. So it's a huge logistics project, at least. So it's many different kind of things that you need to be aware of, and not at least the logistics, and also when it comes to the coverage, the 5G, everything is 5G based, and the 5G signals are okay at almost at all times, but that's the problem, or challenge as well, so to speak. But we work together with a company called LiveView, and they have multiple SIM cards in their kind of production facilities. So all the ultra runners that are filming, we use between 4 and 8 multiple SIM cards to have the best 5G signals at all times.
Wow.
And then the drones, of course, and so on. So
yeah. So it sounds it's quite an operation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Sometimes it is like, okay, what have I started? But that's also that's the fun part, what I love in all perspectives. So We also want to show this from a new side, and also not at least show the global community what endurance racing is all about, and what the teams are going through and everything. And I think it's a very good part of slow TV, so to speak. I think it's the best way to go.
Yeah. And is your vision to always be, I know you want to keep it small, family. Well, I say small, small in terms of participants, but it's a big team. But is it always going to be 10 teams, or are you going to take?
We will not have more than 10 teams. Then we might have some other plans for the future, but as it is now, it will be not more than 10 teams, and that not at least from a safety perspective, but also when it comes to the logistics and everything. And I think that's a big part of the race, that we aren't that many. You're selected. It's just a few who are able to be there and so on. So I think that's part, because I also want to for the racers to feel really ahead of things, and really know that they are selected and everything, because they are the stars, so to speak. So I also want me and all the organizations to be there at all times for them, and to make everything as good as possible. So that's also a big part. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it sustainable? I mean, it must cost a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money, and it's of course an investment in this.
Yeah.
We're doing this in a long-term perspective, and we are sustainable at the moment. Then of course it's tough to start a new race, and like this is a totally new dimension of everything. So that we had that in mind from the beginning, and we know that if we're doing this, we need to be able to do this in a long-term perspective. And so we have been working quite focused on that from the very beginning, and also try to have the highest delivery at all ends, so to speak, and not at least when it comes to the media, because we know that we will not have 100,000 participants and and fans out there, but it's all the media coverage. And we know we work with a French organization called ASO. They own Tour de France and the Dakar Rally and so on. So they work with our media distribution, and we have now media distribution to a little bit more than 190 countries over 5 continents. So that's also when it comes to the coverage and the sustainable part when it comes to media rights and so on. So, but it's a big operation.
Yeah. I see. I don't have a clue about media things like you do. So
No, but that's, in the end, it's all about reach. Because if you're doing something, in the end, when it comes to sponsors and everything, they want to be seen. So what you need is to work from a media perspective, that you are seen, and that's my background when it comes to sports and rights and so on. So that's what I bring into this. So if we're working with this, and we need to work with the media perspective from the very start. We need to build the stars and work with the teams in this perspective and so on, to be able to attract sponsors and partners and so on. So that's
okay.
That's the momentum that you need to have.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Just looking at I did make some notes on the number of kilometers swam by the top 3, and it was around about team 1. Well, sorry, the first place, Sweden, Australia, 70 kilometers. The second team, Australia, they did 72k. And the third team, 66.4k. Yeah, more or less, I guess. Which was amazing. Which is
yeah,
and probably a little bit more than we kind of ballpark is kind of 50K, isn't it? Swimming. Yeah, but it's
We have actually in the application we will have between like 50 and 70.
okay. Yeah.
So we had 50 the first year, but then I noticed that we need to have a little bit more to so it's a long way.
Yeah. Definitely.
But it
Yeah. But that's it, and it's all choices as well. I mean, there is I suppose there's a minimum of swimming. But one thing on the swimming, the head torches. Now, I don't know if you're sponsored by a head torch company, but or if you could
yeah
share what's the best underwater head torch, do you think, Thomas?
I don't know. We have a Swedish brand called Silva,
Oh yeah, I know them.
which I think is very good. That I've been working with before, and then I don't know. Not everyone is or swimming with a head torch.
Yeah.
You can choose that if you want to. From my perspective, I don't know really. It could be necessary. Not all need to have it.
Okay.
But you also have the support crew on the boat that work with it, with the torch as well, so to speak. But
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I think it was Adriel. It was someone I was speaking to. Doesn't like wearing the head torch when swimming. I think the guys being towed, can find it useful if they're to see the feet and the line.
Because it's especially in the nighttime. It's
Yeah.
it's completely black. But that's also part of the support crew, how you can support the swimmers while they're swimming, what they want, what they prefer. Do you want a headlight or not? Maybe it's enough to have a headlight for the one in the back.
Yeah.
Just to have some kind of feeling of where you are and where you have the feet and everything. Of course, some kind of light is good, but I don't know if I would go for headlight for swimming. I don't think so.
Okay. I like
But
style.
it's personal, and
Yeah.
how you plan and how you set up everything. So that's
Yeah. Well, we'll be swimming in the dark soon, no doubt.
yeah.
One other question I had a while ago, which I just assumed the answer was yes, but I will ask.
Yeah,
Are
sure.
you allowed wrist compasses? You're allowed compasses, but you can get the ones a wrist compass. I mean, I don't see.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
So just any normal kind of compass.
Any normal compass. Any normal. So that's not a problem. That's totally up to the racers.
Cool. And in terms of what kind of feedback, I mean, good and bad from the teams, have you had over the few years in terms of, well, anything you'd like to share of good and bad?
Yeah, good and bad. I think experience. I would say in the end for new teams, it's quite well. It depends, of course, but experience is a big part of it. Anyway, if you look at the Australian team, the first year they were totally amazing at that time. But well, it differs. Well, what you have a strategy when it comes to wetsuit, but then it's more that you need to practice yourself. In what we are trying to do is to have all the teams that everyone should have exactly the same conditions, and then it's up to you. When it comes to wetsuits, when do I change? When do I not change? Or would I change at all? And how should I work with that? Because that's up to you. How you work with the wetsuits and the shoes and everything. Not at least when it comes to energy and so on. I think that some of the teams have quite over the years have had quite bad experience or not having enough energy, so to speak. That's one part, and when you look at the teams, but that's not really something that I want to share, because that's, it's you need to have that
Yeah.
experience yourself, and that's
Yeah.
so. But it's many small details, I would say, in this.
Yeah. And it's little small decisions early on, I guess, can become big problems later on. I know.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, the first years of Ö till Ö, when, you didn't have any swim run wetsuits or anything. You just, tried everything and see
Yeah.
what was happening. And you made your own pool boy and so on, which could be good and could be really bad. I remember I made my own pool boy in, 2014 or something like that, and I've just practiced it with it for for like a few hundred meters. I think, oh, this is the perfect setup. But I realized already at the first swim that this one is too small, too tight. I need to really push my legs together to be able to hold it between my legs. So
Right.
but that's the experience.
Yeah.
You need to really work on the details and do that for a long time.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's like I spoke to Daniel Hansson, and they had a paddle which was a new paddle. It was totally okay, but it was one small little detail in the paddle that you don't actually realize that until after 18-20 hours. And so that's
Yeah. I remember swimming a lot with one paddle, and it eventually irritated the kind of heel of my hand, if you like.
yes, exactly.
It was a rubbing, yeah. But you
yeah.
you don't get it until you've done like 7 or 8K or something, and
Yeah, exactly. And
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's all good fun. It's all that's part of the enjoyment, I think. Yeah, finding those.
Yeah, and I love that kind of, to be there and to see what to wear and how to wear it and what to do and what and do some experiments and see. That's I love that part.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, looking ahead to 2025, I guess it's going to be similar, no surprises, similar kind of, same kind of thing,
Yeah,
really.
well, it's a new course at all years, and we try to make new interesting decision making for the team, and also as we saw from the first checkpoint, different kind of choice routes and so on. So that's what we work with, but in the end the basics are the same. The distance are the same, but we have no clue anyway. That's also we cannot predict anything. How much we work and what we do, we don't know until until the end.
Yeah.
So
that's what's good about it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And just last thing, Thomas, the science project that it's part of, where's that data going? Is there something behind the scenes?
Yeah, well, the data we had like 5 different kind of sensors on all the racers this year, and we have live streams into the race management and the science part during the race, and this is what we will explore to next year and see what kind of what kind of data could we provide the viewer with? We have a lot of interesting data when it comes to from a science perspective. So that's fantastic, and the scientists are really impressed of everything. And they have a lot of data to work with. But what is, we know that we can add a lot of data for next year, but what we work with now is what can we bring out to the viewer, so that you actually can see how are they out there in real time. Not that we will show anything that could affect the race, but anyway, I think it's so interesting to see how are they all feeling out there, how are they, and so on. But in the end, we have, when it comes to the heart rate and everything, it's looks really quite the same at all. A lot of data is almost the same. Then of course you can see the dips when it comes to blood sugar and so on. But we try to work it out for to explore that for next year and see what we can bring out to the viewer to get another perspective of the race as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Okay. So, well, Thomas, good luck with the preparations.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. We will get our application in very, very soon, and
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, see what happens, and hopefully,
we know we have a lot of interesting teams for next year. I would say yes. So as far as we look now, we have teams cover not all the world, but interesting countries, and not at least really interesting and advanced and experienced races as well. So
cool.
So I think it will be. I'm really looking for a really tight battle in 2025.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a French team yet?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, Thomas. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Very good to talk to you again.